Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing?
Hi, sister. I think I should be asking you, how are you doing?
Hey, listen, I'm here and I am on this side of the living, so that alone means that I'm doing great, right?
All right. Well, amen.
Yes, ma'am. So, uh, hi everybody, wherever you're tuning in from. Hello, good evening. Thanks for tuning in this evening. Um, I'm Demetria. That's my sister Christina, and we are Hey Sister. We come to you live on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and whatever time zone you are in between, you fall somewhere in between. So we are excited to be with you this Sunday. It is an evening of hot topics, tomfoolery, shenanigans, and chicanery, whatever you want to call it. But first, I got to say, sister, how was your week?
My week was good. I mean, it was busy personally. I had a speech this morning that I gave for Black History Month for our church at home. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about what that was going to sound like and putting it together. So overall, my week was fine. I think that, you and I just having conversations about most of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. It's just like, when does it end? Like, I'm almost at the point where I'm almost like, thank God now that I actually do still work from home, because I'm not sure. And maybe this level of foolery wouldn't be happening if we weren't working from home. I don't know. Or maybe there was some other mechanism to block it out because we didn't have access to the news cycle so much. But man, I've been sitting here like, wow, you really do need a break from from everything. You really do. And so, but these airplane prices don't want me to be great. So I guess my
Girl, the
first
way they
one
trying to
is
do with the airline prices. See, they was begging us to get back on the plane. Now we want to get back on the plane, and y'all want to price us out. And Spirit and Frontier have merged, and they got the audacity to try to charge $600 for a flight, just for the flight, just for the flight.
well, like Sunshine said
When
with
they be clowning
Southwest.
for real, and you can't even do like this in the seat. Stop it. Anyway, well, y'all know what time it is. I did a little lean back. So you see, I have my National Museum of African American History and Culture. If you've not been, I hope you go and take a visit. Go out there and visit. We want you to like, follow, share, subscribe, get in tune to the conversation in the comments. Join our conversation in the comments if you're out there and if you're watching. We want you to be a part of the show. This is as much as for you to engage and get some things off of your chest as it is for us, for sure. And so, with that being said, hey, Sonny LaBeouf, how
Hey,
you
Sunny.
doing?
Girl, you're not out there in the Mardi Gras streets. Everybody else is Mardi Gras in already. It's like on Mardi Gras is on 10
Yes.
already.
So we're gonna talk about hot topics, and let's talk about that for a little bit. It's been since 2020, February 2020, and then right after Mardi Gras ended, the world closed and shut down. But I see so many friends and folks out there parading and having a good time. I have a little bit of FOMO, but I've done it all most of the years of my life, so not too much, but happy to see that it's happening, but also still ever presently concerned about the ongoing pandemic. Um, while we know that it has been in decline, it's not been in that much decline. The last time I checked for Orange County, and I'll check again, and I can drop a link so you can check your own county. It was still, we were at like a 12% positivity rate. Um, if we remember correctly, see, people like to say, well, they change guidance all the time. They do change guidance all the time. They're looking at projections. You know, some of y'all don't know about statistics and biostatistics. They're looking at projections. So they're changing and adjusting guidance until that positivity rate is down in the one digits, then I will feel better. That's just me. But I don't know about you, sister. Let's see.
I don't think that. Yeah, I've pretty much concluded that COVID is with us, right? So we'll just have to treat it like we treat the flu. For those who get a regular flu shot, they'll just have to get a regular COVID shot every year and or a booster every year. I think that's kind of where we are with it because for as many people who have decided to get the vaccination, there's it's just still not enough. So it's just one of those things that I think, what they announced yesterday, that California has moved from uh, pandemic to, is it endemic or something like that status. So basically, yeah, I feel like a lot of states have decided that, it's no longer worth it for their economy to shut down or to have the level of mask mandates that they've had. So, all I can say is let's just all be safe. And if we can't protect other people, protect ourselves at very least.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And I would just encourage you. I'm gonna just kind of put this whole site here. You can monitor this and track this. That's the wonderful thing about information. Information is available to all of us. It's just how do we use that information? So it's there. You can type in your specific zip code and find out details about the positivity rate, about hospitalizations, and you really get a snapshot. I'm looking at our hometown right now. That vaccination rate is still woefully low. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I would venture to also say that after Hurricane Ida, that also kind of went on the back burner for a lot of
yeah.
people. So
Absolutely. Well, knowledge is power. Y'all know we all about knowledge. So get the information you need to succeed. But let's get into some of these top topics for this evening. Some of the like we said, chicanery, foolishness, shenanigans. So on last Sunday, there was this football game there was this football game that many of you watched. So I did go on to, I think one of my friends dropped the YouTube link to watch the halftime show. I went ahead, I watched that probably Monday or Tuesday of this week. And hey, shout out to the legends and the greats in the hip hop game. So for me personally, 50 Cent being a surprise was cute and all. What would have been a better surprise if somebody would have came out there and said, straight out of Compton, a crazy named Ice Cube. If Ice Cube, MC Ren, and DJ Yella would have came out, then I'd have been like, yeah, we gonna be all right for sure. But that didn't go down like that. But they don't consult me on these things. I don't know about you. I know you just wanted to see Mary, so that was all.
yeah, they don't consult me either. So I mean, if that makes you feel better. I wanted to just see MJB. That's who was most important to me. Okay, so we haven't talked about, did Eminem really kneel? So we gotta talk about that piece. There was these rumors that they were not supposed to do certain things and say certain things. I definitely didn't. I feel like Dr. Dre did self-edit his lyrics. I think they said that Kendrick Lamar did as well. But I mean, there was just a lot of fanfare around Eminem taking a knee. And to be honest with you, I had to see the comments on social media to recognize that he had taken a knee, because in that moment, I don't know, like he could have been paying homage to Tupac. And then even with that, the I ain't mad at you. And I was like, I wonder how the DeBarges feel with people like, that was a homage to Tupac. I'm like, what if it wasn't? What if it was for Bunny and James DeBar.
What if
And
it was for Bunny and James and them?
and
Because James was
L.
just on a Janet Jackson thing, girl. And that, listen, I feel the same way. But see, that's the other thing. When people don't, so we talk about history. History. When you don't know history of music, history of culture, you can put your own, you can project your own thoughts, beliefs, and feelings on something and not even know. It was gobsmacking, I'll use that word, as you look at Twitter and people didn't even know. They were like, oh, I didn't even know there was a DeBarge song. And we're like, oh yes, that's why it's
Oh,
important for you to know your history and your culture. Because
oh wow.
certainly generationally, some won't even know who DeBarge is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was like, I didn't, again, it didn't resonate with me that was a kneel in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick or in protest of the NFL or whatever. But what I will say is there are so many layers to that. In terms of, so maybe because he's not an employee of the NFL, it's deemed okay. I don't know. Maybe because he's a white man, I'm not sure. But it just seemed very interesting that it was a lot of people celebrating this moment that felt very insignificant to me in the grand scheme of the whole situation. But I was just I was happy, seeing Snoop always gives me joy, because talk about somebody reinventing himself.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, between him and Ice-T, it's like what Ice-T on Cheerios commercials.
Ice-T on Car Shield. But you know what else
And
is so
Tide.
first up, so I want to say something else about, shout out to Anderson .Paak on the drums.
Yes.
50 Cent wasn't the only surprise guest out there. So shout out to Anderson .Paak who was playing those drums. And there was one commentary I read, and then we'll move on to some other things about the NFL. The symbolism of Compton being the grid that was like projected onto the field, and then they were on top of Compton in different neighborhoods and what have you. I don't know if you really noticed that actually was the street map, the street of like the Compton, Englewood, those areas, right, of those neighborhoods. The symbolism of that performance being in that stadium, which is completely put out the people who were original to that neighborhood, that was not lost on me either. Because I looked at that, I was like, oh, that is actually the geography, the landscape, the people who live there, for them to put that multi-billion-dollar stadium in which they gave billions of dollars in tax credits and set asides, because they say, oh, well, we can't build these stadiums without it, to then gentrify and put out the people who were there, who were celebrating. So,
well, in that sense, on the one hand, I'm happy for the city of Inglewood, because LAX is in Inglewood, and for so long there was just no recognition, or very little, in my opinion, recognition of that fact. But you're on the one hand, you're happy for the city of Inglewood, but on the other hand, it has changed so much, so dramatically. And so, a lot of people that still live there, it has been tough, but they have definitely, they're the ones who can afford to still live there, their home values have gone up, but there's a lot of people who have been put out. And it's amazing. They threw that sucker up quick, because I've only been gone for 5 years, but it was, 5 years for that level of construction. It's quick. So,
that shows me where there's a will, there's an absolute way. So don't ever let somebody in the government of any level tell you what can't be done. Because when there's a desire, it can be done.
yeah.
So then let's talk about that a little bit more, kind of drill down a little bit. So Brian Flores has now been hired as an assistant coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Mike Tomlin, the only Black head coach. I mean, if we go, well, no, I guess they
Well,
have
now they
Lovie
have
Smith now
Lovey.
in
Yeah. Houston.
in Houston. But prior to that, um, who was the last man standing in Mike Tomlin, he hired Brian Flores. And like he said, you need to check his resume, because of course, when people ask why did he hire him, it's like, why wouldn't I hire him? Look at his resume, right? Look at him and what he's done on defense. Like, why would I not hire him? And so, in response to that lawsuit, and hopefully that class action lawsuit continues to go on, one Miss Loretta Lynch, who is our first Black female Attorney General for the United States under the Obama administration, was hired, or the firm in which she works at was hired to defend the NFL. Now, just take a beat for that. Defending the NFL. How do you defend the indefensible is my question.
Well, I am not a lawyer, so therefore I cannot answer that particular part of the question. But what I have said is perhaps there are things as an attorney that she is privy to that we are not privy to. And so obviously there are things that she's privy to that we are not privy to, but I guess I'm saying it in the sense that perhaps, this is a bad comparison, but when it came to Kyle Rittenhouse, right, a few months back, one of the key pieces of one of the reasons they suggested that he was able to get off is because they kind of overshot the charges, right?
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if, of course it's her firm, so it's not her specifically, but best believe, I mean, they gonna shine a light on her because she's a Black woman, and great, let's pit a Black woman against a Black man. That's awesome. But she's so I'm just wondering if there are some things that she's seeing that suggest, like, he may have a case, but maybe these are not the charges he should be bringing. Maybe there's some other charges he should be bringing. Or
there are no charges brought because this is not a criminal situation.
Sorry,
there's
not
a class
charges.
action litigation, and he's made claims. So these are his claims.
So perhaps you're correct. I apologize. Again, I didn't go to law school. So,
but Senator Buck did, girl. We want you to chime in.
Yes, Senator Buck did. Yes, but maybe she sees something that we don't see, and maybe she's thinking, the claims that he brought are not suitable for the situation. I don't know. But, or maybe she like, look, I'm gonna get this money and I'm gonna ride out into the sunset. I don't know. Maybe she like, I'm tired too. Let me get this little pocket change and go find me a private island to lay low on,
Or maybe it's for optics. We got to do for optics because we know they're good at optics, girl. So let's do what we got to do for optics. And I need you to go in here and I need you to get this settled as quickly as possible, because the quicker we can get this behind us. So we're going to do what we need to do on the outside, look good. Let's try to settle, because we don't want any more discovery. We don't want any more documents that we have to produce, because we know what happened the last time we produced documents. We had to settle mightily with one Colin Kaepernick. And, so maybe that's what the play is. I don't know. But I hope people stop letting their silence be bought.
Well, again, I stand by what I said 2 weeks ago, that at some point I really do feel like it's going to be if NFL players, if NFL coaches, if NFL GMs want to see some changes. Because if we go all the way up the chain, there was a great question that was posed by a gentleman who works for NFL Network to the commissioner outside of the Super Bowl. I'll have to find that. But he laid it out there and had the numbers, and the numbers just don't jive. So at some point, those 70% of Black players are going to have to stand up and be bold in support of the leadership. If they want to see more black coaches, if they want to see more black GMs, hell, if one day they see a black owner, which we know that club is even more difficult to break into. But if they want to see it, I just believe it's going to have to come from them. I just don't think.
So you mean another labor dispute?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I typed it in there. Men lie,
Because
women lie, women
the,
don't
the,
lie.
MLB, you see, they not they not about to play. They like, let's get this money. Let's get all these things straight. ML, I don't remember, and perhaps I'm not old enough or what have you. I have witnessed the NBA having lockouts and striking and what have you. I've witnessed it from MLB, but I cannot think of a time when I've seen it from the NFL.
There was a time
Like,
in the
well,
80s. We were
okay,
very young.
okay, yeah.
I think it was the 80s. It might be early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And when they did a whole movie on it called The Replacements.
I
When
didn't
they
watch
had
it.
okay, well, they had replacement players.
Oh,
And it lasted like, I think owners had to cave because I think it lasted all of 2 weeks. But again, that was USFL was defunct at the time, but then I think that's also when like the XFL was then kind of born too, because people were like, it was in that kind of that era.
mm,
So it has happened.
okay.
So there is power there. Sometimes people don't know they're free. Next.
All righty. Well, maybe they don't know they're free. I don't know. So, what say you about your girl Michelle?
So
Michelle.
we talked about Michelle when she was on. If y'all
The
haven't
View.
seen her, we talked about Michelle when she was on when she appeared on The View and some of the things she said about Colin Kaepernick then.
Yes. She's
Um,
doubling down now. Michelle is like, listen, I'm gonna
Not
cut
only is
you
she
off.
doubling down, but she's changing her story too, because she had the audacity to be talking to that Santa Claus is white. Y'all know who that woman is who said that. Who also tried to leave Fox and have her own show on NBC and was a
Oh, I
colossal
hadn't seen
failure.
anything about her talking to her. I saw her talking to
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
not the
He was
King.
talking to her and was like, because he had the talent, but he made some business decisions. Tiffany Cross dragged her for filth on that comment already, so I don't need to necessarily drag her for filth on that comment. But the fact is that the business decisions were not. He didn't make business decisions. He made conscious choices. He made conscientious objections, and he was standing up for some things. And the NFL and its owners colluded. That's why they settled their lawsuit, because they knew that they colluded and there was evidence of their collusion. That's why they settled that lawsuit and paid him handsomely so he could go away. And if they had him as a second, third string on any team, on any roster, on somebody's um practice squad, it probably would have all fizzled. But they doubled down, like she's now doubling down and changing the story. They changed the story multiple times because it was about patriotism, it was about the flag, it was about this, it was about that. It was then, oh, he wasn't good enough anymore, and it's been all kind of everything. Or we're gonna do a sham of a tryout, and we're gonna, we want to control the situation. It's been everything. The goalpost always moves when you are in control of the narrative. So Miss Michelle Tafoya, who has made her career on the sidelines of the NFL sporting events and having these conversations and interviewing these people who are the majority of a deeper hue, a melanated hue, is now like her uber conservative values are coming out. And as she said on The View, like, why because y'all make it matter every day.
Well, and that's why I dropped the article. It is Elsie Grandison, an opinion piece, but I thought it was just very interesting because he starts to talk about even the place in which she lives, which is now 85% white, but was started as a black community until black people were forced out of the community. Um, and so even that in and of itself is very rich. It's very rich that you made your career interviewing black men, and you obviously as a woman, so you're a woman and you're a sports reporter, so you know what it looks like, right? You know what it looks like for women to be in the room to ask the questions. And so you also know that in the leadership positions, there are not a lot of black people and not a lot of black men. And so to stand on the sidelines and talk to those men and make your money and then be like, oh, I don't think race is an issue. I don't, critical race theory is making my kids feel like race is an issue, but I don't make my it's no
Because
way.
when her son was in school and he had his best friend was black, and then they have these affinity groups. And that's when I saw that they saw, and then with his other friend, his best friend was Asian, and the same thing happened. They have these affinity groups. Why you didn't encourage your child to go join their affinity group?
Right. Or, I mean, why? But for me, even with that, it's like, let's like not be naive. Why do they have affinity groups? Probably because it's not a lot of them,
because they need
and
affinity
they
groups.
need to be together to support each other. You know.
We see the money too.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I'm
and
sure. I mean, listen, one thing
she's
that
eyeing I know she's supporting a gubernatorial candidate right now, but it is said that she's even eyeing her own race. Y'all always follow the dollars.
absolutely. I mean, I listen. I'm the stupid one here trying to actually go to a job every day and work hard and make money. Clearly. And I should have just learned from David Duke, right? Because clearly that brother, not brother, ain't never had nobody's job. I mean, even the Klan is a volunteer organization, so it ain't going he had no
He got
job.
paid to do that.
And
But I
he
don't know if you saw. So Karen Hunter posted this, and then we're gonna get to our next hot topic. So there
okay.
was she said she saw the name David Duke Jr. trending, and she was like, "Who is that? Who is like?" She was like, "What did this Cretan do?" And then she saw the dunk that the young black man whose name is David Duke Jr. and that played for Brooklyn. She was
Oh wow.
like, "So his name is forever going to be erased from the annals."
Yeah, poor baby. They should really consider just calling him by his middle name. But I'm saying, like, I feel like that has been the blueprint. You don't ever have to really get a job. You can just continue to run for public office and make money off of it that way. And even with Michael Cohen, when he said Donald Trump is not going to run for president again because he's making too much money not being president.
He's making all that money out there
Lying.
like our next hot topic. So y'all, if y'all didn't get into these shows on Netflix, listen. I watch Inventing Anna. Sister watched The Tender Swindle. Can we get some reparations in the scheming game and the scamming game? Because see, black folks go to jail for trying to do little $100, $1,000 scams.
Black mothers go to jail for putting their parents' address
To send a child
to
to a
send their
school.
children to a better school.
These folks here, and we didn't put Trump in there too, but it's the same scam. It's, do you know who I am? Oh, well, there's something wrong with the bank. You need to check with the bank. I'm getting on this plane and I'm flying on this plane that I didn't even pay for, didn't book, but I just walked up on here, was like, Well, this person said to take care of her. I don't know what to do. We just gonna let her get on this plane and fly. She ain't paid no money. Ain't been no down payment. She been in the hotel how long and ain't paid more money? Oh wow, she owes $30,000 to the hotel right now, and we ain't collected nothing, and we let her keep telling us, oh well, it's coming. It's been a wire. What, girl? Do you know the police would have been there arrested us after one night?
Listen. Okay, you tell me the premise of Inventing Anna. I'll talk about the Tinder swindler.
There ain't no premise. This is based on real life story. That chick is in. So she went to jail, and then when she got out of jail, because again, how you got sentenced to 12 years, but you only spent a little bit of time in jail. When she got out of jail, then she was taken into ICE custody because of her overstaying her visa. So ain't no premise. These are some scamming. Like who said it? Like Star Jones has said, they have schemes on top of schemes that we can't even fathom or think of.
Yeah, well, with Mr. Tinder Swindler, me and Rob watched, and even he was like, "Man, but who won? Like, who winning in this?" So he ended up going to jail for like 5 months, but it ain't even on that. It was because he had committed some crimes before, and they finally had these women did all of this to catch up to him, and he didn't even go to jail for the stuff he did to them. But what you want to talk about, like the money piece, and so the women were interviewed on Tamron Hall the other day. And look, I'm not going to shame the victims. At the end of the day, they thought this was their friend. They thought they was in love. They thought a whole lot of stuff. Now, granted, just like with The Bachelor, I often say it's so much easier to fall in love when you're going on luxury dates. Let him take you to McDonald's and see if you fall in love as quick. If you fall in love as quick, then you might got something. But it's easy when you being flued out, you know. But man, so Tamron Hall told one of the girls, she was like, "Man, you had some good credit, huh? Because how you was going to the bank and getting money upon money upon, like you was getting loans at all, like she got loans at like 9 different banks,
and they wasn't no like, oh, let me just get like a little $5,000 loan to float you.
no, I want to say her probably the least expensive one was probably $10,000. This dude told her to bring $25,000 in cash. Let me say this for the record. If there's any man out there thinking that he gonna flew me out, nah, he ain't even flew her out that time. You think I'm coming with $25,000 in cash? It's gonna be a sad day for the both of us. Cause I'm like, how do you even begin that? How does that start? I don't even know how to get 25,000 in cash at this point.
And here's the thing: you worrying about trying to do some legitimate. Oh, I want to do a property investment. I want to do this. You be worrying about stuff. Girl, you better stop worrying.
Sis,
You might as well say, do you know who I am? I am Christina Hill of Hey Sister. You better run me my joints.
I'm gonna have to do
Go
something.
down at the Bank of America well, tomorrow they close because it's President's Day, but go on Tuesday and just go on down there. Go on, call up the credit union and say,
Okay, you go on and have my bail money because I'm gonna be arrested. But man, them sisters was break for one chick. You broke him off over $250,000. Let me explain to you how I don't like Tamron Hall had to say. I mean, yeah, at one point,
no, that was a whole house she could have bought for herself. Stop.
But she was like, didn't you at one point just say, can't you ask your dad? Like your dad, you're a billionaire, right? Can't you ask your dad?
Well, in Anna's case, my father keeps cutting me off. He just doesn't understand my vision. He just doesn't know. I dropped a link in there for y'all about Anna.
Well, let me use
Deshaun has a great comment here.
Yes, the Tinder swindler. I think he got paid by Netflix. And then he's trying
got paid by Anna Sorokin got paid by Netflix as well for her story. She got paid over $300,000. She's in ICE custody.
And they said he has more people, because he has a website or something. You can hire him for business advice and all this stuff. So he got a new girlfriend. Like all his girlfriends are blonde, so I don't know how he didn't get them confused. So that in and of itself was an art. But yes, I'm like, dude is kind of winning. He served before, and then he served like 5 months, and he's still just fine everywhere, living a very lavish lifestyle.
And we out here trying to do right.
And they put Ronald Isley in prison for tax evasion.
And they put Wesley Snipes in prison for tax evasion.
Yeah. Mm.
And Donald Trump still walking free. God, we not even gonna listen. Y'all are tuned in right now. Y'all are live with us on Hey Sister. Thank y'all for tuning in and watching. Get involved in these comments. Drop, like, follow, share. If you got something to say about any of these hot topics we talking about tonight, let it forever be said and forever be known. So this next topic, this one, I got to take a beat and take a nice deep breath before we talk about Paul Blart Mall Cop. So I'm gonna let you lead this story, system, because it was in New Jersey,
Was
Bridgeport,
in
New
New
Jersey.
Jersey. Yes, so there was a group of young teens, predominantly white. I only saw one young black man, and apparently this white teen was a bully, and the black boy was standing up to him. The white guy put his finger in his face, and the black boy kind of slapped his finger off, and then so the white guy proceeded to swing on him. They started fighting, and the I don't know how old the white kid is. The black kid is only 14, so he's very young. They get into a tussle. Of course, the other children, they're filming because we always have our cell phones at the ready. But I guess in this case, it's a good thing that they did. And so then you have two. So they weren't really mall cops, but they were in the mall. Two police officers approached the scene, immediately handcuffed the black child,
No,
and
let's say this.
sits the white
Pull the
kid
white kid off of
off
the
of
black
him,
kid because he was on top of
top
him.
of him,
Sit
yeah,
him on the
sits him
couch.
on the couch, and then proceeds to handcuff the black child. And so obviously there's, I never know what they have to investigate in these scenarios. But what I will say is, as many commenters on social media have stated, it begs the question, can you reform any of these behaviors? Can you train or diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging out these kind of things? Because when you see how quickly these cops approach the scene, like you don't even have time, like you're not really assessing what happened. You didn't pick both kids up, sit them both down, and say, what's going on? Like it felt like an overreach for a teen fight in the first place. But then on top of that, to automatically, systematically arrest this black kid, it's outrageous. And I
When
don't
he
know.
was defending a friend, when the other kid was aggressor in the situation, and then the other little kid who, while they have the black kid on the ground, stands up. If a black child was sitting on the thing and stood up while the police was doing something, he probably would have been shot.
Right.
A. B, the white kid, he can't even believe what's happening. He's been interviewing, like, I don't know why. And you see him in the video, like, do like this, like, y'all gonna handcuff me? Like, because he's not even comprehending, like, he even understands this, what's happening and what's transpiring is unjust and unfair.
And I will add, I really had a problem that, again, he appeared to be the only black child there. And the video commentary, the N word just was flying, and that gets under my skin. I know these kids these days try to act like it's just a word and it doesn't matter. That got under my skin as well because, again, as you're seeing this play out, that's exactly the same word that was levied against black bodies. when they were being lynched or arrested, or that made my skin crawl.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of the fact that this singular black kid of all, like, and it was so many kids, it was so many of them. I'm like, so nobody else gets arrested? Not even a good strong reprimand?
Mm-mm.
I don't,
Child.
as a parent, I don't know. I don't know what you say to your children. I'm happy that his parents aren't just letting it
Go.
go, but
But what do they do? What do they do? Y'all, every day, as a parent, every day, you're doing your best. And I can speak for me. You're doing your best to raise whole, healthy, conscientious human beings who are confident when they go out and move in the world, who are reassured enough that they can go out and move in this world in a confident manner. That alone is a difficult enough job to have to be concerned about in every space they get in, how they may have to defend themselves, how they may have to adjust and modify their behavior, how they might have to cower or be afraid, how they might be met with their death for having the audacity to just be.
yeah.
That is exhausting. That's
Yeah,
exhausting. Exhausting.
I cannot even imagine. And the thing is, going back to somewhat to Michelle Tafoya's stupid comments, it's, you want your children to feel comfortable in relating to multiple people. You want them to feel comfortable being able to befriend anyone and not have to think about skin color, right? But this right here is proof positive why they have to think about skin color. And to be honest, I had the reaction like, why is your son the only black child there?
Mm-hmm.
I just, to me, that's just it's just not safe. It's
Yeah.
just not safe because not one of the every one of those white kids could have said, y'all wrong. He wasn't the aggressor.
But they were saying it because you could hear them saying, "Oh my gosh, what are
I
you
heard him
doing?"
say, oh my God, what are you doing? I don't know.
Well, they have no power either.
Yeah, but it's in that moment it felt like they had a little more power than that little boy, on that 14-year-old
Yeah,
child
who
on the
who
bus.
had a knee in his back.
Right.
So we got a comment here. I want to show it before we go to the next thing, and it
Ooh.
kind of relates. It says, "Why do we always have to come to the rescue in spaces where we are immediately deemed the villain and ultimately become the victim?" We don't, but who else will?
But sometimes maybe that's just, maybe we have to stop playing that role. Like, we want to do the right things. We do. But doing the right things has cost people their
Their
lives.
lives. Yeah.
And so maybe we just shouldn't. Maybe sometimes we need to evaluate the situation. And I applaud the young man for standing up to the bully, but
But what is, I mean, I don't even know if that's a honest or true thing to say, because I can't evaluate playing in the park at 12 years old because I'm supposed to be able to play in the park at 12 years old. I can't evaluate
well,
I'm
that
at
that is that that
let
that
me
is not
finish.
what I'm
I can't evaluate I'm at the gas station at the convenience store and I'm playing music in my goddamn car, and somebody will decide my music is too loud for them and they inkling, right? I
and
can't.
again, I'm not, that's why I'm saying I'm not talking about that. That is, no, we have no control over that, and that's unfortunate, and that's disgusting. But like she said, why do we have to come to the rescue? And like you said, again, relating to the next topic, we don't. Sometimes we don't have to come to the rescue. That's what I'm talking about specifically.
Well, this is not the that's not the next topic. The next
Oh,
topic is this. The next topic is this. So on this week, the Dante Wright, who's also, just miles away from where George Floyd was murdered, he also was murdered at the hands of a police officer who was yelling taser, taser, taser as she pulled out her gun and shot him.
right.
And you wanted to talk about the words his mother said in the courtroom because he has a white mother and a black father, so is biracial, but obviously had lived experience as a young black man
Mm-hmm.
in the greater Minneapolis area. So yeah, I didn't watch the video where the judge was crying, and as people said, I feel like the judge is crying more for Kim than she crying for the mother or for Dante. I didn't watch it. I didn't see it. I don't know, but you saw some of it, and you wanted to talk about what his mom had to say.
Yeah, I just reacted to his mother because, you know, like I said, when look, you talking about not knowing what goes through people's mind in a split second. I don't know what was going through Kim Potter's mind when she mistaken her gun for her taser, because I mean, based on everything that I've heard and everything that I've seen and everything people have said about the weight,
The weight
the
is
book,
different. I've held them both. I've been to a shooting range. I can tell you that the weight is different.
and so with that being said, maybe adrenaline, I don't know. But first and foremost, a traffic stop just in this day in 2020, in 20 anything, since the year of since we started this millennium,
We got cameras on everything.
right? There is no need for a traffic stop to be deadly for any reason.
There's no need for traffic stops. So, one of the things my husband talks about all the time. He's like, in Germany, they don't stop for no traffic stops. The
Right.
camera takes a picture because they got cameras everywhere. We have cameras almost everywhere.
Yeah.
The cameras take the picture. If you speeding, they gonna send you that ticket in the mail. If your headlight out, if any other violations, them tickets are gonna be sent to you. Nobody is stopping you and approaching you for these menial offenses because hey, anybody can have, oh, I didn't know my light was not working anymore. That happens to all of us sometimes. I didn't know my light was out. You don't have to stop me and approach my vehicle and creating the level of angst and anxiety that comes along with an officer approaching you in the day or the nighttime because oh, your light is out. That is not even necessary in the year of 20 anything. Anyway,
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be letting you talk. Girl, let me sit back.
No, that's exactly right. So I was just saying that, of course, I don't know what was going through Kim Potter's mind, but she took this young man's life, and you know, she says, "Oh, shit, I shot him," or what have you. But I don't think that she ever thought that she saw a black person. I don't ever think she thought that he might have had a white mother. And so when his mother shows up, and you know what I did see was Kim Potter crying and doing the most, and oh, I pray for Dante every day. I pray for his family and all the tears. And his mother was like, "No, I don't forgive you." And I had so much respect for her in that moment, because talking about doing the right things, we have been conditioned to believe as Black people very often we're just supposed to take this trauma, we're supposed to take this pain and this sorrow, and we wear it like a badge of honor, like, hey, look at all that I've been able to pull through. And you keep, like what happened in South Carolina with the Mother Emanuel victims. It's like so many people who were quick to forgive. I had so much respect for his mother for saying, no, I don't forgive, because you ripped out my heart with one bullet. So I don't forgive. And I'm like, and she's well and within her rights to not forgive. And so when she said, about the white woman's tears trump justice. I thought that was very profound coming from a white woman. And you know what enrages me is that I don't really understand how sentencing works in this country. I don't understand how it works state to state, municipality to municipality, jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But in what world do you kill a person, accidentally or not, and you only get 24 months and you're only gonna do 16 months? And for me, why I struggle with that so much is because if the reverse was the case, just flip it. If Dante Wright had killed police officer Kim Potter, what would be his minimum possible sentence?
Yeah.
That's the part that I don't understand. It that enrages me because here in the Phoenix area, like last 2 weeks ago or so, there were multiple shootings of police officers. And it's not right. I hear, the chief get on television, and the chief is a black woman. I hear her get on television and talk about how challenging this is for her, and how, and she has a lot of feelings associated with it. And my first question is, how do y'all not understand then when it's the reverse?
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all not have those same feelings? You see a police officer you feel like you're being targeted. You see a police officer get shot, and you want the community, you want the residents to say, has got to stop. This is not right. Our people are being targeted, and you want to evoke a certain feeling in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, but when the opposite happens,
Mm-hmm.
when you, in the case of, I'm blanking on the young man's name, most recently, where they walked into his apartment, Amir Locke, when they walked into his apartment, and yes, he had a gun on the table. Anybody you burst into somebody's house unannounced, no knock warrant, he goes to grab for his gun, he gets killed. In another case, and I don't know the gentleman's name, but something I just read about.
In Pensacola, did you see that one with the
With the
baby?
parents, yes, so they co-parent. Yes, that's exactly it. They're co-parenting their children. Mom lives at her house, dad lives at his house. It's dad's day. He has two of his babies at home. Somebody just breaks down the door. What does he do? He grabs the gun and he starts shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're supposed to do to protect your family.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does he lose his job, now he's being charged with attempted murder on a police officer. But he was not wanted for anything.
Right.
But you all didn't he didn't know y'all was busting into his house. He got babies in there. He's just trying to protect his kids because he thinks it's an intruder. You haven't announced yourself. You haven't. So he gets attempted murder charges for doing what is a natural reaction. But again, when it's the flip side, we're supposed to have compassion and empathy for police officers who are putting their lives on the line every day. And I understand that, but I want to know, when do we get that same level of empathy and compassion? Because Kim Potter should not be getting off.
Well, to your point, if you think about it like that, so I'm gonna say it like this, using your words. When do we get the same empathy and compassion for just being human and being able to just go outside? When do we get the same benefit of the doubt? Just merely existing.
Yeah.
So, but see, I'm gonna tell you why we don't get the benefit of the doubt. Because this next damn hot topic, this celebrity obsessed culture that we have. Because we got people like this. And I know, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't have to take the burden of his foolery on. And I refuse to take the burden of his foolery on. And we as a people gonna stop taking the foolery on of everybody else. But this right here, flaming hot Cheeto mess. Flaming hot Cheeto mess. So one Mr. Kanye West, Donda's son, he has a Netflix special on too. I hadn't watched the documentary, probably won't watch the documentary because I don't need to understand any more than I already understand. This is a young man, not so young anymore, okay, because you're about 40, bro, a little older. So a young man, not so young anymore, who obviously has mental health issues, mental illness, who has been on a steady decline, and instability has been showing up over and over and over again. And now he's harassing his estranged wife, her new boyfriend, going on social media diatribes and assaulting via those words and language, encouraging others to throw slangs and assault. And the whole always want to be private and this and the other, and why some this is one of those where I get conflicted because, sis, you have lived every minute, moment, piece of your life. You put it out for public consumption because you wanted it to be publicly consumed, because then that got you to be where you are, where you have actually a billion-dollar business, because we have a celebrity obsessed culture that wants to buy your makeup and underwear. So, but then on the other hand, enough is enough and too much stinks. So that's all I gotta say about him. Don't parent like that. Don't be out in the street like that. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I could not. So first of all, it's very hard for me to feel any level of compassion under the circumstances. As I've said before, I used to be a huge Kanye West fan, and I can remember in some of his lyrics where he was talking about, basically the woman he wanted to marry and have kids with and all of this stuff. And as well as when he was talking about, how he was in love with Kim, but Kim was in love with him when she was previously married to Chris Humphries for however many days that they were married. And I feel like you called all this upon yourself, to be mad and upset now that your daughter has a TikTok with her mother. It's a parent, controlled TikTok, but you married somebody who, this is how she's made her entire career. I mean, let's face it. Does she have a talent? None of us are aware of what it is, other than, as Nashana said so brilliantly earlier, white privilege is an art. She created, along with her mom, she created this persona that allowed her to make a whole lot of money doing a whole lot of nothing. And yes, now it has translated into uh, uh, whatever her lines are, the underwear, the lingerie, the different things, that business lines that she has, it's translated into that. But the fact that this woman has been on the cover of magazines, and it's like, for what? They created a reality show when their claim to fame before the reality show was, oh, their daddy was the dude who defended OJ, or, oh yeah, she used to be with Paris Hilton and whatever. Oh yeah, she slept with Ray J on a video. Like, there was nothing there, all of them. And like, it's brilliant. It's brilliant because I keep going to a job. But what I will say is, our friend of Hey Sister Donnie Rose, who was on here a few weeks ago, he wrote a piece, and I'm gonna read some of it, and I'm gonna try not to read all of it, but it's also good. And so sometimes anyway, he says, I've kind of relaxed on posting cultural hot takes, but I have to get this one off regarding the pending divorce of Kim and Kanye. You ready? I feel like Kanye is playing up in black folks' face and how he's talking about his marital situation, specifically how he's using language like, quote, not playing about his black kids and his newfound black father rhetoric. Honestly, I believe that much of this verbiage is being used as a future defense should something tragic happen. I'm not hoping that to be the outcome, but there's a lot of disturbing things happening in this situation. There's a lot to unpack as to why I do not believe Kim is the villain Ye is trying to paint her as, and why she is probably legitimately fearful of him. There's a deep web of identity politics to detangle in order to arrive at some real truth about what we see playing out in front of us and what we don't know going on behind the scenes. And just his first thing was,
You
first of
can
all,
drop the link, sister. Yeah.
I will drop the link, but I was just gonna finish
Go
reading.
ahead, finish. I will drop the link for sure.
Yeah. So it's like, first of all, everyone knows the Kardashian Jenner family is all about the public spectacle. So it should be of note how much Kim has tried to resolve her divorce from Kanye privately. What we know about their situation has been largely based on information he has spilled in the public, which definitely comes off as a tactic of defaming her for filing for divorce. Um, and then he talks about how black folks have a lot of disdain for the Kardashian Jenner clan, and so it's almost like using that, weaponizing whatever cultural disdain that black folks have. So I will drop the link, but what I say all that to say, when the sister said black women are not Tylenol, we need to underscore that point, because I guess there was some commentary about, oh, he needs to get with a black woman. No, he don't. He, unless she's his black therapist, that's the only black woman he needs to get with.
He don't
So
need to get with nobody. He need to get with himself.
yes, and that's what
That's
I'm
who he
saying.
need to get
The
with.
only a black therapist who can help him find
He needs to
something.
get with himself. So anyway, child, we could go on all night long, but that is not what we're gonna do tonight. It is 9:02 on the East Coast. That means it's 6:02 on the West Coast. So we thank you for tuning in tonight to Hey Sister with the hot topics, joining the conversation in the comments. If you like something that we said here, please share it with someone else. Tell them that we're here live every Sunday. And for that, now we are signing off and saying good night, everybody.
Good night.
Drop that link, sister.
Well, I'm trying to find it, but you're ready to get off so quick. So I'm trying to get to it,
Bye.
but I will drop it.
Bye, y'all.